let's start off with the AOC situation because she's enjoying freedom in Florida, and she's basically saying that any criticism of her means that people want to date her, that people are sexually frustrated, specifically referring to the Republicans who have been criticizing her. Now, if you guys recall, do you remember when there was the whole Texas grid situation where the power went out and a lot of people lost power, some people lost their lives, and so there was obvious criticism to Ted Cruz and to others who left and to go on vacation. Now, this is when she said in September, she said, I know Republicans' idea of disaster relief is flying to Cancun while the power's still out, but unlike that approach, I actually give a damn. And, you know, I just wanted to put it side by side to the breaking AOC spotted in Miami Beach as New York City reports record COVID cases. So just kind of putting out the hypocrisy. The National Review had this exclusive article where they had pictures of AOC with her boyfriend in Miami Beach drinking cocktails. And there's really nothing wrong with somebody doing that. The problem is the hypocrisy is what people are pointing out. And so they said Representative AOC was spotted dining in Miami Beach, Florida on Thursday, according to a tip received by the National Review, on the same day that her native New York City reported a record number of COVID-19 cases. Photos obtained by the National Review show Ocasio-Cortez seated outside Doraku Sushi and Izakaya in Miami Beach Thursday afternoon, raising a cocktail in one and checking her phone in another. Back in February, when Senator Ted Cruz, a Republican from Texas, drew fire for taking a trip to Cancun, Mexico during a winter disaster in Texas that left millions without power or water, Ocasio-Cortez joined the pile-on. If Senator Ted Cruz had resigned back in January after helping gin up violent insurrection that killed several people, he could have taken his vacation in peace, he tweeted at the time. Texas should continue to demand his resignation. So she was demanding his resignation at that time. But there is more. So let's just play this video. She was also, had a crowd there. So she's in South Beach, and a lot of people are pointing out she's maskless. Yeah, like Florida, people don't wear masks. Like there's not a mask requirement. And so, yeah, she is enjoying the maskless freedom of Florida, even though she's been extremely critical of Ron DeSantis and extremely critical of Florida. In fact, let's go over her response. But just real quick, anything to say so far on that? Because we're going to go over her whole response.
No, keep going. Definitely. I mean, the only thing, it's just so funny as you're listening and watching to this. It's like the tweet you sent out. It's the gold standard of hypocrisy, or the gold medal for hypocrisy goes to the Democrats. There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
So she responded by saying, if Republicans are mad, they can't date me. They can just say that instead of projecting their sexual frustrations onto my boyfriend's feet. You creepy weirdo. So some Republican said if leftists like AOC actually thought mandates and masking worked, they wouldn't be frolicking in free Florida, which is, I mean, true. Her guy showing his gross pale male feet in public, not at a pool beach with hideous sandals. This is stupid. I mean, why are you talking about the guy's feet? But her response saying that they were sexually frustrated and that they wanted to date her is obviously a little out there. He continued saying, it's starting to get old, ignoring the very obvious, strange, and deranged sexual frustrations that underpin the Republican fixation on me, women, and LGBTQ plus people in general. These people clearly need therapy, won't do it, and use politics as their outlet instead. It's really weird. So now she's like saying like it's all Republicans and that they're not just attacking her, but they're attacking women in general and all LGBTQ plus people, which is a very, very drastic statement to make based on one person's, response, weird as it may have been. So she's saying, like, now people who criticize her are trying to date her. And this person said, I definitely do not want to date you. And she said, I'm glad you felt the need to share that with the world. Don't worry, this is totally normal. A totally normal thought to have and share as an editor of a right-wing website, and totally doesn't prove my point at all. I hear if you say it enough times, you'll actually start to believe it. And she continued, the fact that these people are so creepy / weird, yet are also the ones responsible for shaping the news headlines we all see in media, should be really concerning. I don't even want to know what knuckle-dragging thoughts these people have all day while covering women in politics. So she's once again using the, this whole like neoliberal sort of, oh, women are being attacked, they're sexualizing me, they're doing this, they're doing that, which exists in society. It's a very real thing, but she's weaponizing it for an argument where it's not merited, and it cheapens it, and then of course it makes it more of like, it makes people more likely to dismiss it when it's actually something real. And the news headlines are not just shaped by Republicans, they're shaped by the liberal media too. It's all part of the same machine. So her argument doesn't really add up here. And she then went after Governor Ron DeSantis. So she said, hasn't Governor Ron DeSantis been inexplicably missing for like 2 weeks? If he's around, I would be happy to say hello. His social media team seems to have been posting old photos for weeks. In the meantime, perhaps I could help with local organizing. Folks are quite receptive here. So this is because Team DeSantis said, welcome to Florida, AOC. We hope you're enjoying a taste of freedom here in the Sunshine State, thanks to Ron DeSantis' leadership. So because we know that New York and Florida are two drastically different states in terms of how they've operated from the pandemic, during the pandemic, and after of what we're seeing now with Kathy Hochul, and just the whole like vaccine passport situation that's happening there. And then she said, I'd be happy to share some notes from Governor Kathy Hochul's work in New York, since he seems to be in need of tips. But for me, that was the worst thing she said of all. To amplify Kathy Hochul, somebody who is absolutely disastrous. I mean, her policies of firing nurses, of segregating people, affect people of color, affect the vast majority of poor people in New York City. A lot of people who are Black Lives Matter activists have been advocating against these mandates, saying that they're racist and are segregating people. So for her to say that Kathy Hochul's policies are worth echoing, to me, is the most destructive thing she could have said in this whole thing, bar none, because she's saying that she's okay with that sort of authoritarian policy. And I want to play this video where, actually, not even the video, I just want to kind of note that Ron DeSantis was actually accompanying his wife to cancer treatments while she was saying he was missing, which I'm no fan, and everybody knows that, of Ron DeSantis. But it looks bad for her that she actually said that, he's missing when he was with his wife, and she's, she's just digging herself in a hole. And I said in my tweet, imagine thinking Kathy Hochul's ridiculous authoritarian policies have done any good. Firing nurses during a pandemic, segregating people, and turning civilians into the FBI has hurt communities AOC claims to care about. What a hypocrite, enjoying open Florida while criticizing it. So yeah, she's criticizing the open policies she's enjoying while being in Florida and enjoying them, and saying that he needs to look at Kathy Hochul. Would she be in Florida enjoying the same thing she's enjoying if Kathy Hochul was governor? It's just so much hypocrisy. It's so blatantly obvious. There's not much else to say. Pasta.
Well, it's just funny because it's the same old playbook. Play the three things, right? Like, number one, play the identity card, the feminist card. Like, oh my God, like, look at the way they're attacking women. These people out here, they're awful. But, fam, I do have to say for that man, the reporter who did mention AOC's boyfriend's feet, have you seen those things? I mean, get a pedicure, for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? He can hang off a tree upside down. Just kidding. But I mean, it's just funny when they put that stuff out. You don't know if it's in the real news or if it's in the Inquirer. And secondly, then you start playing team sports. Right. Oh, well, look, where's DeSantis at? Where's he at? We haven't seen him. He's been MIA, so they immediately jump to the team sports, right? And then the third one, just smear, right? You're going to prop up Hochul, who was also absent, fam, for when the city councilman, I think the city councilman Kim, was calling for an investigation into those nursing homes. She was absent too as well when it came to that with AOC. So, I mean, it is just the same playbook over and over again. But, fam, They know their audience. AOC knows her audience because she knows she's going to have a bunch of people who are entrenched in sensationalism that just love her, look at her star, and make excuses no matter what. Same type of people there are for Trump that are still out there right now, despite what's being said. You know what I'm saying? And they know how to twist people. It's with
Right.
the emotions. Go to the emotional stuff. Whether DeSantis has been absent or not, his policies as far as economically, and I'm not going to even talk about, medically, just economically, have been sound and better than most other states around the country by far. I mean, we are
When it
here,
comes to
it's
what?
open
When it
for
comes to
business.
COVID?
When it comes to,
Specifically?
yeah,
Yeah.
economically with COVID. I'm not even talking about, the Regeneron and all that other stuff that he's doing over here. I'm talking just the economics. Florida is thriving more than any other country right now. Excuse me, any other state in the country, where a lot of other states are just falling apart at the seams. Small businesses are going away. So how can you really criticize him and say, where are you at and stuff like that when you're partying and hanging out and taking vacay in his state? It's hypocrisy at its finest.
Right, and you're right. They're playing team sports. They're absolutely playing team sports, and they're absolutely distracting people with their arguments. This is what happens with Marjorie Taylor Greene and AOC, with AOC and Laura Boebert, and all of them, like the squad and them. This is what they do. We're not paying them for them to have these little arguments all over Twitter. They're supposed to be, doing work, and that's what they're not doing. And so this is what AOC does. She makes it about herself. She's obviously a narcissist. I mean, I don't know what else to call her. But this isn't about people wanting to date her. This is about the hypocrisy that people see. And you don't have to be a Republican to look at the hypocrisy that the Democrats really were really the best at hypocrisy. And so
I can just see people clipping up that one part from you, fam, right now. Look at that. There she goes. She's supporting Republicans like DeSantis now. Like, no, we're talking about the actual policies and how the people responded to them and the freedoms that were allowed in Florida, as far as, not only just the choice to wear a mask or not, but wherever they want to go and whatnot, they're free to do that. So you can't argue those. You got to look at the policies, not the people.